All right. Hello. It's been a while. Happy New Year. I think this is the first one of the new year. So here are notes and a model for our LL2 task. So looking at characterization, particularly with values. And so how do we identify text evidence to help us think about what characters value in a story? All right. You kind of see a little bit on the notes now. I'm going to talk through these as I work through a particular page, a specific page, in The Giver, which is what we're reading now. So when we're talking about characterization, we're talking about the ways in which authors try to convey to readers who a character is fundamentally. And just like in real life, we know characters are pretty much just reflections of everyday people, of you, of myself. And so that is why when we have stories that are, especially novels, 100 plus pages, because you need to put characters in multiple situations in order to truly understand who he or she is. And so with that, the way that showcases through all these pages is to have them say things in different moments, do things in different moments, or think things in different moments that gives you a sense of who they are when these situations come up. And so today, that's what we're going to think about. Looking at characters and trying to identify in particular moments of the story, what does it say about who they are and what, in particular, what value they may have in their life. So it's a 5-step process, and these are going to be in letters A, B, C, D, E. Well, B, C, D, E mainly. A will always be the reading piece. And we're going to talk about page 23. We're going to do it by page instead of chapter of The Giver to get us there. All right, so we're never going to go in order. So when you're thinking about characters and you're trying to figure out a value, like what do they find to be important in their life, the first thing you want to do is think about their dialogue, actions, or thoughts for that character on a particular page. So we're going to do page 23, and we're going to just quickly go to that page for you. It'll be a very quick glimpse that I'm going to have up here. Okay, just kind of get a sense, look at that. And it's always great if you have read it, so then the quick process of going through the text is going to be easy. So the first thing I want to do is identify the dialogue. I want to focus on mother. Okay? So I'm going to focus on mother, and I'm going to write down all the pieces of evidence I know from mother. Things that mother says on this page, things that mother does on this page, things that mother thinks about on this page that stands out to me. And so with that, and I already have it here, just want to kind of get that going. Mother says 2 things on this page. She says, 1, it doesn't seem as important to me. And she said this when Jonas asked about like having fun when you are 12. And she mentions that when she became a 12, she had her assignment and she played a little bit, but not as much. It didn't seem as important to her. The other thing she said is she was speaking to Lily, and she told Lily about her comfort object being taken away when she's 9, because Lily came and interrupted the conversation because she needed to go to sleep and she needed her object to do so. So these are things that mother says on this page. All right. Now, B is now the summary. And I like to think about it as the why. So if mother said these things, why did she say it? What was going on this page that made her say or do or think something? In this case, for B, and I'm using what we have from a 7B's class. So this is what 7B came up with today, so you get a sense of what's going on. And so we're saying that the reason why mother talked about the comfort object being taken away, the reason why mother said that playing wasn't as important after 12 is because they're talking about, well, what happens when you get to a certain age. And this makes sense because the whole page started because Jonas needed to know about what it meant when he became a 12. And even Lily's small moment that comes in at the end still stayed on topic. And so this makes a lot of sense. And the only reason why mother would make these kind of comments is if I'm talking about something with age, in this case, what happens when you're a certain age. So perfect. Then we have C. And C tells us that now we look at B and we look at D, and we need to then ask ourselves, well, if this is the case, how does mother feel about this? How does the character feel about what's going on this page, about the event, about the situation, about the topic on this page? What's her attitude? What's her feelings on it? And so students in 7B said that, well, it looks like she feels like you need to follow rules. She feels like you need to just do what you're supposed to do. I had students in 7A and 7D say that I feel like her attitude is that when you grow up, you have to mature. We all have to mature at some point. We can't keep holding on to things that are childish. And those all still fit. And that makes sense. Because again, if I talk about what I'm doing at a certain age, I'm talking about this because maybe I feel like getting older is important. Maturity is important. If I'm talking about comfort objects and not playing anymore, maybe I am talking about and we only say rules because we know that in this community there's a lot of rules. And so a lot of people just kind of honed in on you have to follow the rules of the community. So then that leads us to E. So I use all this information and I want to ask myself, well, then what's important to this person's life? If I'm someone that when I talk about age, I'm immediately going to talk about the things that we have to do, the things that go with growing up. What does that tell other people about what I think is important? And some people may say, oh, maybe mother values maturity. Maybe mother values responsibility, and those things all work. And in this case, they said maybe mother values rules and obedience, which also makes sense too. Rules because if I look at C, this information told me maybe because she lives in this community, she thinks everyone needs to follow these rules. You should always follow the rules. Obedience because being able to follow the rule, not have your object following, knowing that you're not going to have fun. Maybe these things show that you have to follow this rule. You have to be obedient to what it is that you're supposed to do. And again, I had other classes who said maybe she values maturity because each talk about what happens when you grow up, and that also makes sense. And so that's pretty much your process. So if you are right now doing the value assignment, that's what you are doing. You're going to do the same process. D, B, C, E. You can bullet point just like this. And what you're going to do with that, you're going to do father. So understand I already gave you here, all of this is B, so underline equals B. Wavy line, all the way to selection, wavy line equals C, and then this bracket here, that is D. So I gave you B, C, and D. Your job is to give me E. I want to know, what does father value? For Lily, I gave you E. So I want you to do the process. So what is D, B, C? Go to page 27. What's some things that Lily says or does on page 27? Why did she say or do those things? What was 27 even talking about? And then what does that tell you about what's her attitude or feelings about that topic? Once you do both of those, you're then going to turn it to the front. We're not going to worry about anything over here on the right side. You're going to pick either Jonas or Mother, and you're going to do the entire process on your own. Show me that you don't need my help to give you anything. You can do it on your own. I would just kind of give you, if I had to give you a page or a chapter to go into for a page. For Mother, go to chapter 5. Go to chapter 5 for Mother and see what page stands out, because Mother is in chapter 5. And then for Jonas, I will go to chapter 4. He's throughout the book, but see what stands out in chapter 4. But you can also, for Mother, use page 27. or use 27, which you just read for Lily, but Mother's on that page too, and that may also stand out and something may be very clear for you. All right, so that is the task. And I'm gonna show you the notes. Good luck.